Welcome to the show. Today I'm sitting down with two of the entertainment industry's most dynamic figures, Barry J. and Heath Billups. With careers spanning across modeling, singing, and acting, they've graced stages and screens, leaving their mark alongside notable recording artists. Their artistic prowess doesn't end there, though. They're also the masterminds behind a thriving furniture refab business, crafting commissioned pieces that are as unique as their A-list clientele. But it's not just about the limelight for these two. Barry and Heath share a profound dedication to animal rehabilitation and conservation, pouring their hearts into causes that speak to the essence of life itself. Today, they're embarking on a new adventure, combining their creative genius and charitable spirit to introduce Heath and Barry's Unbound Life. It's more than a brand. It's a testament to living without limits, embracing the boundless possibilities of art, and making a positive impact on the world. Join me as I sit down with Barry and Heath to delve into the stories behind their multifaceted careers, their passion for change, and the vision for their latest and most exciting venture yet. Thank you both so much for having me today. It's such an honor to be here. Listen, we put this interview, I scheduled this last year.
Right.
And it seems like it's taken forever to get to this day.
That's right. But
Yeah.
we're finally
Yeah.
here. And thank you. Thank you for having us on your show and for coming to our home.
Listen, this house is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, y'all, I just want you to know that you can rent it. It is a vacation rental.
That's right.
But it's breathtaking. Like when I come up the drive, and we will show some video.
Sure.
But that the trees, everything, it's just so peaceful.
Well, thank you.
It's exactly what I need in my life right now.
It's our little slice of
We love
heaven.
it. We miss it every time we come home. It's our little paradise that we get to enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you said every time we come home, so I do want to let's dive into that first
Sure.
before we go into anything. So you guys did live here in Sevierville,
Mm-hmm.
but you moved to Nashville. How long ago was that?
Oh my gosh.
Year and a half.
About
now.
a year and a half
Yeah.
ago. Yeah, year and a half ago.
So did you live here in this home? Was this your home?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so after you decided to move to Nashville, then you decided to make it into a rental vacation property?
I think it was kind of as we were getting ready to go to Nashville, we made the decision, hey, you know what? We've still got a few months here. Let's go ahead and start making some changes and some updates and things
Yeah.
like that. So once we leave to head to Nashville, we'll already have this set up, just to provide a little passive income.
And one thing for us is we love this house, and this
Yeah.
is always going to be our home. And so when we were looking at the decisions on whether to sell or whether to keep, it kind of broke our hearts to even think about the possibility of selling it.
Yeah.
You know, who knows what happens in the future, but for right now, this is still home to us. So
Yep.
we get to share a bit of our home for a lot of other people.
Yeah. And the good thing about that too is Nashville is a very busy city.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge city in the United States. I'm not sure what the population is, but it's very busy. And like, I hate driving through Nashville. I hate it. If I'm on my way, like we have gone to Dallas before in the car. I don't recommend that. It takes like forever, 2 days. And so you pass through Nashville. I hate that traffic.
I know.
So when you get sick of Music City, you can come here into the country and have this. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
That's one thing that we were growling out last night, and we just listened to the silence, the babbling brook, and the birds and the crickets. And we kind of live in the country, but you still hear those city noises.
Yeah.
You know, they're always, it's never not too far away.
That's true.
But here, it's gone,
Yeah.
and it's a beautiful sound.
there's just, I say this to everybody, a lot of people on the show, there's something about East Tennessee and these mountains that you cannot find anywhere else.
That's
Yes.
the truth.
You just
That is the
can't.
truth.
I'm from West Virginia. There's something about our mountains back home, but there's a peace in Tennessee that I found when I came down here that I have never found anywhere else, and I don't want to leave. My
Yeah.
son lives in Florida, and sometimes I think, I'd love to be close to Josh, but I can't leave these mountains.
Right.
For my son.
I-
Bye, Mom.
when I first did my very first cruise ship, I was in Tahiti for 7 months. So some of the most beautiful places on earth, especially for diving and things like that. But I was working on a cruise ship, I was singing, and I was so homesick for the mountains. I could not stand it, even though I'm in like this tropical paradise, and it was so beautiful. The minute we flew into Knoxville, I got off that plane after 7 months, and I kissed the ground. I kissed the ground. I was like, I'm so happy to be home in Tennessee. When we're driving back from Nashville, the moment we cross over the plateau and we start to come through Knoxville, and you just see the mountains come up, there's nothing like that. It just warms your heart.
And we probably are going to have viewers who've never been here,
Yeah.
who don't understand that. But I think that's a lot of the reason the population of Tennessee is growing so fast. I read the other day, I belong to a Facebook group called Relocating to Tennessee or something like that. And people are coming from California, Colorado, from
Yeah.
beautiful destinations
Yes.
to be here. And I think it is because, like I said, there's something really special about the mountains, and there is a piece I can't explain. There's a piece that's
I agree.
just can't explain. So yeah, So anyway, Barry,
Yes.
I want to tell the viewers how I know you. I've known
Okay.
you for 6 years now,
Yep.
and so I want to start off by telling everybody. And if I embarrass you, we can cut this out.
That's all right.
I embarrass him, but
It's okay.
Keep it.
so in 2018, I started working at Dollywood at a home decor store called Mountain World.
Yep.
And you are the singing partner of Jada Starr, Dolly's niece, that I
That's
had on my
right.
show last September.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys sing together. So
Yeah.
I would see you. I think, did you originally sing in the My People show?
I did.
Okay, so I think that's where I first saw you.
Yeah, so I started with, I had just come off the road, and that was insane. I literally ended a tour and then did a show in Johnson City, where I'm originally from. It was a benefit show, and then the very next day I started rehearsals. Sorry, Charlie is driving me
Oh, you're
crazy.
fine. You're fine. He's fine.
But that's our dog, by the way. But I started rehearsals that very next day, and had no idea who Jada was. I'd worked with Randy in the past and worked with the family, and have worked in and around the family for about 20 years, and got into the show there because I just wanted to be closer to home and get off the road and be here in East Tennessee, like we were just talking about, in the mountains. And Jada and I, just kind of hit it off. I said, "Are you a songwriter?" She goes, "Yeah, are you a songwriter?" And I was like, "Yeah, maybe." let's maybe play some stuff for each other, and then it just kind of turned into a beautiful friendship and a beautiful duo. Like, we love singing together and playing together, so we've had a good time.
And it shows through in your work too. I mean, when you're performing together, listen, so I will tell you, so that's how I first came to know who you were and Jada. Then you got your own show at the Heart Song Theater up on the hill by the train. If you guys have ever been to Dollywood, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But and it was called Songbook.
Yep.
And I don't know if you remember this day or not, but me and Pam Haggard come up there, and we sat in the front row, and I bawled through every single song. Do you remember that day?
I do remember.
I bawled through, and she looked at me and she went, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "No," but that's how deeply your music touched me.
I appreciate
I
that.
literally cried through every song, even I think the last one you sang, "I Will Always Love You" by Dolly. But every single song that you guys wrote and sang touched me so deeply that I bawled. Pam was like, "Are you all right?" Like she probably thought I was out of my mind.
Well, that's okay. On the flip side of that, we were like, Lord, are we doing that bad? We made this poor lady cry in the front row.
It was like your music really touches me that much, and that's how. So that's the hallmarks of a good artist. You know what I mean?
Thank
of
you.
a great songwriter, when you can touch somebody and bring the tears out. You know, obviously, didn't realize I was going through anything, didn't think I was going through anything, but you just touched me in a way that, brought out something, and it was beautiful.
I appreciate that.
So anyway, what I do want to say is every time that you would walk by my store, I'd be like, "Oh my God, that gorgeous guy." and then you know
You're
what?
too kind.
I remember like when Pam was like, "Well, they'll take their picture with you," and I was like, "Are you serious?" And so I stood between y'all, and that made me so happy. I still have that picture on my phone. I'm gonna get Adam to put it on the screen.
I would love to see that,
Oh my gosh,
please.
y'all, I'll show you. But like I was standing between you guys, I was like, "Oh my God, I was sitting." I felt like I'd met the biggest celebrities ever, So
You're way too kind. I appreciate
I
that.
just fell in love with you guys, with both of you.
Well, thank
the minute
you.
I met you, because like you, I don't know, there's just something different about you and Jada. Your music is just.
And I appreciate that. Like, one of the things that we always talk about, and now that I've started writing with Heath as well, it's not about being a big old star. It's not about being famous. It's not about any of that stuff. It's just sharing experiences. And I think that's probably, I know I speak for myself, and I probably speak for Jada as well, but just sharing experiences through music, things that you've gone through, happy times, sad times, heartbreak, all that stuff, but putting that out into the world so that other people don't feel like they're alone.
Yeah.
When you write a song, they're kind of like your baby, and you're kind of scared to kind of put them out there, and I hope you like it. But at the same time, what's amazing is seeing people come to the show that have literally, like the song "Long Way Home," that was our debut title song for the CD. I wrote that about a breakup.
Oh, okay.
And it's just kind of one of those things, just taking the trip down the road, it's a long way home till I'm over you. But what I didn't realize is that other people can take it in a different way. And we had a lady come up to us at the show at Heart Song that literally walked up to me crying and grabbed a hold of me, and she said, "I just lost my husband about a month ago, and this song touched me in a way because I know that I'm not over him, and I know it's going to take a lifetime, because I think they've been married for over 50 years.
Wow.
And just for me, I was like, wow, you know what? Music does touch people in a different way, and I'm so thankful that God has blessed, the gifts that He's given to Jada and to myself and to Heath, that we get to share experience with people that either take it for what it's worth or even see it in a different light. That's the beauty of songwriting.
Yeah.
And it's
art,
so much fun.
Everybody interprets art differently.
Yeah.
And like you may have written it about a breakup, but like, and I had somebody on my show recently, and she wrote a book, and I said, your book, you wrote it about one specific topic, but really when people read it, it can be used for any circumstance they're going through.
Sure.
And that right there is like, yeah, and I love that you said what several people have said on my show. It's not about the accolades or the awards. It's not about that. It's actually about reaching your audience and touching people. And I love that.
Yeah.
I had, Barry Amato.
Yeah,
He was on the show. Yeah. And so I asked him, I said, what award has meant the most to you? And he was like, you know what? He said, the awards are nice. He said, but just being able to entertain people and bring a smile to people's face. And I've noticed that the bigger people like you, of course, you're, I'm not saying anybody's better than anybody else, but the people who have already been there and have achieved some level of fame or, a success,
Sure.
you do say it's not about chasing that brass ring. It's not about chasing the fame. It is about entertaining your audiences and connecting with people.
Yeah,
And that's
literally the most fun thing. Like, anytime that we get to be artistic or perform, or like even Jada and I, when we were doing our shows, everybody, like a lot of our performing friends were like, man, I guess you guys are just sweating to death out there on the back porch at Dollywood or over there in the valley. Y'all must just be dying. It didn't matter if it was 3 degrees below zero or 112 outside. We still had so much fun just being able to go out there and share music with the crowds that would come to Dollywood. That is the most fun, seeing people's faces. Even if they don't like it, I'm like, that's all right, just pretend like you never saw it, okay?
Or somebody like me who sits in balls all the time.
We must have been real bad that day.
No, we were that good, honestly, because it caused me to, what it caused me to do was to, in therapy, talk therapy, a psychologist, they bring things to the top that you have pushed down. And I think that brought a lot of things to the top that I needed to think about and deal with. Yeah. And that I just hadn't until that day. And those songs touched me that day, and I was like, wow, I didn't know I had suppressed so much. Right. And so, it was really helpful for me. And I will never make you understand. You'll never be able to understand what that meant to me that day. That you touched me. That I bawled through every song. Because I was crying hard, and I thought, well, these people up there, they're gonna think I'm crazy. Because Pam already thinks I'm nuts. Because she was like, she looked at me, she went, are you all right?
I can hear her.
Yeah. But I would rather be a person who feels like me than to be somebody like Pam that don't feel nothing. I'm sorry, Pam. Right. No, but I mean, to feel like that for me, that's everything. To be able to feel me like that, man, that's everything.
Well, sure. And we always talk about music's therapy for us. Songwriting is therapy. We utilize the audience as our own therapists. When we can't go to therapy ourselves, we go out there and tell our stories and through songs, and then we get feedback from you guys, which kind of helps us heal those old wounds that have come to the top just from writing songs.
And people probably don't realize you're doing that either.
Right.
They probably think, oh, they
we
wrote
absolutely use you for therapy. Just so.
Heath, I'm so glad that you decided to join us too, because you are, apart from Barry, you're talented. You've got your own talents.
I've got enough to keep me busy for the rest of my life.
So I want to start with your business, Rustic Nobles.
Okay. So, Rustic Nobles, I've always been into as far as constructing things like minor house. Oh yeah.
Camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, let's start over then. Okay. So
Heath,
I'm so glad that you decided to join us today, because aside from Barry, I know you write songs with him, like you just talked about, but you have a lot of things that you do on your own as well.
Yeah, I do. I've got enough to keep me busy for the rest of my life, and it's goes from a plethora of building stuff, singing, writing, dancing, acting, modeling. It's pretty busy.
So your woodworking, or I don't know, your refurbishing business, or what would it be called? Refurbishing or
refab?
Okay. So it's called Rustic Nobles, and you have a lot of things in your home here that you actually built or put together,
Right, like the mantle, knocking holes in walls, and trying to make it look good and making it more light. I just love looking at anything, whether it be a piece of furniture, and making that something better, refabbing it. And for Rustic Nobles, our company it's instead of getting a whole bunch of new wood, a whole bunch of new furniture, we try to make our stuff out of reclaimed wood, reclaimed furniture that people have just given away or just want to throw away, but it still has a lot of life to live.
Like one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Yeah, it has a lot of value too.
Absolutely, there's huge businesses going on with that. But Actually, for me, it's not to make a big business out of it, but it's just a passion and a love that I really like.
And you know, like I'm kind of weird, like kind of way weird, but like I'm like I have things like that. I don't know why I do this, but I almost assign like a human quality to things like furniture. Like you said, the stools that were sitting, and you found them in a dumpster.
In a
correct?
dumpster, yes, yeah.
And it's so like for me, it's like I don't know. It's almost like they have value. They matter.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So
know.
like and they're beautiful.
Yeah,
So,
and it's, you know, you like you said, you give it that human connection, that persona, and you're like, you know, I don't want people to throw me out just because they get a little older, and I don't think, you know, and that's the way I feel with the furniture and wood and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can't wait to like show. So I'll include some clips on the show of your home, like the cabinets, those windows that came from a college in Gatlinburg that they were going to throw away.
Yep.
Yeah, and and it's crazy. They have great historical significance because they were the first women's college in Gatlinburg, and you know they're old. They're probably upwards of 100 years old, and we're like, I can't stand to watch them just be thrown away.
Yeah. And how somebody can just toss something out like that is beyond my ability to comprehend. I just don't understand. I'm like, man, that's because that is a part of this area's history.
Yes,
So you can say, like, or you can tell the people who come and rent, like, you could tell them about that, or even have like, I don't know if you. So, like for example, the windows have that historical significance, and so have you ever thought about having like a book on the table eventually, like with everything, like a little story of everything?
We've thought about that because there's little things around in the house, going from the pictures, some of Barry's pictures from the past of the people that he's performed with, stories of some of my modeling stuff, because we've got those hanging up as well. There's just little bits of history, not only just about us, but about this local area. We've got some other furniture pieces that we'll probably be putting in here, and it's the wood that we'd be making it out of is 100-year-old wood from a barn that is from one of the most predominant families in this area. And we ended up, they were going to throw it away.
Wow.
And so we took it, we ended up, for one client, we made chandeliers out of it, coffee tables, we can give you pictures of that. And just the significance about that was so much fun working with it, working with wood that someone had cut 100 years before me and took passion into it, and then respecting that into making it into something new.
I don't know why, but I love old barns. I love barns. I love barns. I love to take pictures of barns. And I always think about, like, for me, when I see a barn, I think about the work that went on inside there, the kids that played in the hayloft, and all that stuff. So then to take an old barn and then make it into something like today in a home, you know what I mean? That for me, that's like really something special. So
absolutely.
And I've seen some of your work. Barry sent me pictures. The one light thing, like the beam or the big block of wood with the oh my gosh,
that was
beautiful.
Beams. Yeah, that was so much fun to make.
That is gorgeous.
And that, we were talking with the clients, and Barry, the funny story about that was, he knew that I was a carpenter. I was, I used to be an electrician's assistant when I was younger. And so when the homeowner was like, I want y'all to look at doing a chandelier, and for us, we're at that point just decorating. So we were thinking, I was thinking, we're going to build, or not build, but buy a chandelier. We're going to do that. Barry says, oh yeah, we can build that for you.
That's where I get us in trouble a lot.
It gets us in a lot of trouble because
fun trouble. Okay, fun trouble.
Yeah, fun trouble. But I looked at him when we left. I said, I don't know how to build a chandelier. And God bless him. He's like, we'll figure it out. And I'm like, no, I have to figure it out.
So here's the funny part. I will say this: when it comes to like home decor and design and stuff, I usually. Well, in general, I will usually come up with a concept in my head and try to like formulate that and then toss it over to him. At that point, he does logistics. Sometimes I dream a little bit too big. Well, you know what? I don't dream big enough. Let's just put that there. But at the same time, logistics-wise, he knows how to like piece those things together. But we found like doing the tables and the coffee tables and the chandeliers and even certain like wall art pieces that we've been able to make, we work so well together because even when I'll come out with the most outlandish idea, he will say, okay, well, let's meet in the middle. It may not be able to be exactly like this, but let's try to, compromise and figure out what works best. And again, I have the utmost faith in him, so it just works out. So we're good, right?
Well, and it's not only that, it's being creative with each other, of looking at this really neat, the way that he dreams is great. And for me, looking at things on the logistics side, and then seeing how it kind of comes together, and us creatively figuring it out, where he may see something that I don't see, and I will see something that I don't see, and it all becomes a part of this piece.
Yeah. It reminds me of a baking show I watched a couple months ago. They took cake bakers, or like bakers, and then they took engineers, and they gave them projects like build a robot. It was like a 12-foot robot or whatever, but it had to be out of cake. It had to actually roll, so the engineer had to put like the mechanical stuff in it,
Yes.
and then the baker did the baking. So, and they worked really well. Some of them worked well together, some of them didn't. So, but it was. But when you said that, I thought about that. How two people that have two different, like you're the creative. Well, you're creative too. I'm not saying that, but you're like the builder, and you can think up like these spaces like, hey, y'all want a big 8-foot chandelier?
Right.
So
it was only 6 feet.
It was 6 feet.
But you work it out, and it works, and that was gorgeous. But and so I was going to ask you if you do commission pieces, but I'm sure you do now.
Yeah, absolutely.
He commissions them for you.
Absolutely. He's very willing on doing that.
Absolutely. No, we just love creating together.
Yeah.
But we do commission pieces, and we're working on actually heading up to Johnson City to see my folks on this trip up, because my mom's 80-something birthday. Please don't.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell Mom. I'm sorry. She's 21. No, it's her birthday on the 25th, and so we're going up to see them, but also picking up some more of that maple wood, because we used to have in the house a big giant maple wood table, and it was just a cross section of one of the trees that they had fallen up there at the house, and taking something that people are just going to cut down and throw into like a fireplace or whatever. I was like, no, we can do so many more things. So we're picking up a couple more of those pieces and actually turning those into some different shelving and furniture pieces here in the near future.
Man, I need to come to wherever your wood shop is and like look at all your stuff. So I want to talk about something that is very important.
Okay.
And it's very important to you, and that is your work with animals. Tell the viewers about like everything that you do for animals.
So when I grew up in Texas, and I think I can say this now legally because the statute of limitations.
What are we getting to?
As a child, I raised a deer and some raccoons in my house, so that's kind of where it started. And I grew up on a ranch, so I raised cows and horses and was just always around taking care of animals. When I first moved to Dallas, I ended up managing a dog shop there. And I was doing that while I was doing acting and modeling in Dallas. When I moved here to Tennessee, I luckily landed a job. It was my first job here, and I didn't know anyone. I just walked in and said, "Are y'all looking for someone?" And I ended up doing maintenance and some shows and zookeeping at a local zoo. So there, my knowledge of taking care of animals just expanded. Going from mainly dogs and cats to now primates and reptiles, amphibians, and getting to learn that huge new area of animal care. While I was doing that, I was going around to a lot of wildlife rehabbers, and this is where I was taking Barry along as well. We were filming stuff and just kind of wanting to catalog our journey on animal care and what we're learning and what other people can do, and that's kind of what we're going to keep on going for. Then I moved to Nashville, and I started working at a vet hospital as a vet's assistant. So I was learning things more on the medical side. So, mainly what we're wanting to do is the wildlife rehabilitation, and put it in terms where we talk with people on what they can do in their everyday life. Using the knowledge and the experience that I have done, and where Barry is wanting to learn, and put that out to people.
I love that. You know what I love is how over our life years, we, without really realizing it, we're gathering knowledge on any particular subject, topic. But there comes a point where, what are we going to do with that knowledge and that experience?
Yeah.
And everybody has things that we've all been through that we can use. Not everybody uses it though.
That's true.
But if you use it for good, then I love that. I love that you're using all the knowledge you got gained, you know, all the experience and stuff, and turning it into something really good for animals, you know.
Yeah,
So.
and it's some of the dumbest and stupidest stuff that people normally wouldn't think. I did a show with a local rehabber here, and she was talking about possums. You know, just because you see, you know, one on the dead of the road doesn't mean that, you know, don't stop and check on it, because sometimes because they've got a pouch. And you can check for joeys and take them to our local rehabber.
Which I never knew that baby possums were called joeys.
Yeah,
I knew that was like a kangaroo thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, he like introduces me to all kinds of new information that I'm like, people really want to hear that. I thought that was really exciting. He was like, nobody wants to know that. And I'm like, no, they really do.
Well,
and you know what, kids too, you should go around to schools and stuff and teach
Yes,
kids.
and when I was at the zoo, I was doing shows there for local school groups. So they would come in, and so showing kids, you know, hey, don't be afraid of the snake, or hey, this is a new thing to learn about this type of animal. You know, spiders and stuff like that. Scorpions, that was one of my big ones. I would bring out the emperor scorpion. I called him Fluffy. Fluffy, because scorpions are fluffy. People don't know that. But, you know, one thing with me and Barry is I like teaching him stuff. I like teaching a lot of people stuff. That's always just been a fun thing for me. So using animal care and telling people, even if they're not able to do anything, like actual care, what they can do to help with the rehabbers as far as donating things, or and opening it up. A lot of these rehabbers are in their own homes doing everything. There's very few facilities here in Tennessee.
I love that too. And even if I didn't do anything but pass along what I've learned from you, I pass it to somebody else who maybe could do something. So education is so vital in every area, you know. So So you mentioned that you're originally from Texas. How in the world did you end up in Tennessee?
A change of scenery.
Was it because you met Barry, or?
Actually, no. I met Barry shortly after I moved here, a few months, and I was just here. We ended up meeting at a local bar. I think it's since closed, but and we never, like, it was a friendship. We were just looking for a friendship, you know, and the next time we met up, we just started talking, and we talked about our huge history.
Family and how we grew up, and church, and you know, all that other
Lots
stuff.
of things in common.
Yeah.
You know, so we mentioned a minute ago that you write songs with Barry. Listen, you seem like you do everything. Not to knock you, but listen, you know, I say a lot. Everyone has some talent, but some have all talents, and you definitely have all the talents.
There's a lot of talent. Yeah, like I said, I will be busy till the day I die, and which is fine. I don't plan on retiring. I know my roles will change as I get older, and that's fine. I'll at least have something to keep me busy. And you know, and Barry's right there with me the entire time. If he's not learning with me, because generally it's a lot of times we're learning with each other. We're doing stuff for the first time with each other. And if there's a place where I may have more knowledge in, it's really fun watching him to learn about it and timidly like, oh, can I cut here?
Right.
Yeah, you got it.
Especially with some of the big chainsaws and things like that. I'm like, I have never used this before. Can you at least show me? But in him doing that, I've actually been able to teach some of my friends in Nashville some other woodworking.
See, that's like I said, pass it around.
Right. And I'll never forget watching him do that. And I was like, ooh, hey, good job.
I'm proud.
Right?
So I want to ask you, since we were talking about music and stuff, who are your biggest musical influences? Like, who's been your biggest musical
He
influence?
goes first.
I tell you what, like, it's so funny for me. I grew up with parents who were songwriters and singers, and I think my mom still directs the choir at our church. She's so and so years old. Again, Mom, I'm sorry. But I grew up listening to like Everly Brothers and like Del Shannon and some Elvis stuff, but I also grew up in the church, so listening to old hymns. And I remember one specific experience when I was younger. I was in high school, and my parents were very open to all music, I guess we could say. I didn't know that because I was a little scared. Like, they were like, Christian music, and I'm like, yes, okay, I get that, but I also want to listen to Motley Crue. And so I remember sneaking a Motley Crue tape inside a Striper, the Christian band, hair band Striper. I snuck the new, I think it was Dr. Feelgood, Motley Crue tape inside the Striper because they thought that I had the Striper tape, and they were like, oh, great, So I kind of hid around little things here and there, listening to music growing up. But one of the things that always made me laugh is I had snuck in this cassette tape that had a bunch of, and yes, cassette tapes did exist, kids. So did 8-tracks. I grew up on that too. But no, I had snuck in this like mixtape that had Janis Joplin on it. And so I was listening to me and Bobby McGee. And I had my stereo up there in my bedroom, and I closed my door, and I was, turned it down, and I was sitting real close to the front of it, and I'm listening, and my dad opens the door, and I thought, okay, here we go. I'm getting ready to get my tail end busted, and he looked and he goes, "Is that Janis Joplin?" And I said, "Yeah." Very quiet, and I'm like, please don't let me, please don't take the tape. And he goes, "You know what, that was such a waste that she died too young, and she was such a good artist." And then he closed the door, and at that moment I was like, oh my God, my parents are cool. I was like, they know all kinds of music. So then I started talking to them about, different artists and different singers, and I love Willie Nelson. I love the way that he writes. Of course, I love Dolly, that. Who doesn't? She's an amazing songwriter. And then people like Merle Haggard and of course Johnny Cash. But I also love some of the female singers. I think listened to mostly female singers my whole life. I love Trisha Yearwood, always do, still do. Can't wait to meet you, hopefully someday. But growing up listening to all of these different influences, one of my favorite artists of all time is Bonnie Raitt. Just because she's got this swagger, good law woman. But the way that she sings, the way that she plays guitar, and the way that she actually, they would call it selling a song.
She feels it.
Yeah, 100,000%. Like, I Can't Make You Love Me. Lord have mercy, that song just breaks my heart. But also, like, hearing stuff like that, I wanted to be able to write like that. I wanted to be able to sing like that. Willie Nelson, Angel Flying Too Close to the Ground, one of my favorite songs. So I guess I have many different influences. I think my parents were a big influence on me too. Like growing up, my dad was always like, "Hey, I got this song idea." He's got one that I will not say because we haven't copywritten it yet. I'll tell you afterwards, and then when we copyright it, then we'll sell it. But no, I'm just kidding. But he's always coming up with ideas. Like we laugh all the time because Dad will call just randomly and he'll go, "Hey, I got a song idea," and I'm like, "All right, cool, Dad, tell me," So, and he and I have been able to write together before as well. So it's literally across the board.
Yeah, you know what? That's how I am too. Like I can listen to anything. I like bluegrass. A lot of people like bluegrass, but I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels good. And I like praise and worship music. I like the old hymns. I really love the old hymns.
Oh yeah.
There's something about an old hymn. I like rock music. I hate to admit it, but I like Taylor Swift.
I love Taylor Swift. Are you kidding me?
I do. I listen to anything. So.
And with Heath, like he has a musical theater background. I was trained classically singing German, French, and Italian arias. But like the year before I came to Dollywood to sing country music. So like having that kind of wealth of knowledge behind I love everything,
and I was, even for me, I was president of my choir class, so it was, doing the French and of course. But and going from that, like for me, it's a plethora, and it's kind of whatever mood I'm in. That's the great thing about music is having something to go with your mood. It's like your musical soundtrack specifically for you, and you know, it's country's not always going to be it.
Yeah.
You know, rock's not always going to be it. Enya's not always going to be what you need to listen to.
But
he laughs because I listen to a lot of Enya, especially when driving in Nashville traffic.
Yeah. You gotta have peace in that insanity. Yes.
So
Yeah, so I love all of that too, and it does depend on what mood I'm in, and also too, you know, I'm a writer, and so if I'm writing a particular type of book, I will find a playlist. Like if I know, you know, because you know I know what the book's going to be about, I'll find a playlist. If it's a romance book, like I'll find all these songs, and I will sit and have my AirPods in while I'm writing it and listen to that, and it comes through. It comes through into my writing. So So
hanging out with us for a little bit.
Really
Hope we didn't bore you too much.
No, we're not. Listen, I've had a blast. I love it. It's been fun. It's been funny. It's been touching and all the things. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
So thank you guys for watching today. I know you have enjoyed Barry and Heath just as much as I have, and especially that song. It's a cute song. And we're going to include all of their social media links on the screen at the end of the show, so stay tuned. If you want to get in touch with them, if you want to buy their music, listen to it, whatever, just stay tuned to the end of the show. And thank you for watching once again, and join me again next week for another exciting episode. And remember to always dream big, because big dreams do come true.